लाडली लाल की, श्रीमत सद्गुरु सरकार की। मन्नाथ श्री जगन्नाथो मद्गुरु श्री जगद्गुरु मदात्मा सर्वभूतात्मा तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। अहो चित्रमहो चित्रं वन्दे तत्प्रेमबन्धनम् यद्बद्धं मुक्तिदं मुक्तं ब्रह्मक्रीडाभृगीकृतम् नमः कमलनाभाय नमः नमः कमलपादाय नमस्ते कमलेक्षण यो ब्रह्माणं विदधाति पूर्वं यो वै वेदांश्च प्रणोति तस्मै तग्वंह देवमात्मबुद्धिप्रकाशम् मुमुक्षुर्वै शरणमहं प्रपद्ये। Dear devotees, last night you listened to the greatness of Prem Ras Madira explained, and for the rest of this sadhana shivir at this time, you'll get to hear an explanation of a different pad every day. Today we'll be singing from Siddhant Madhuri of Prem Ras Madira, pad number 95. Lakhyon mein ik acharaj sansar. I see one very surprising and astounding thing in this world. So what that thing is, Kripalu Ji Maharaj will tell us in this pad. Ik acharaj sansar lakhyon mein acharaj sansar lakhyon mein ik संसार लख्यों में
अचरज संसार लख्यों में
एक 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 अचरज संसार लख्यों में
In the Mahabharata, Vedavyas Ji has written, Kimascharyam. He's recounting an event when the Pandavas were in their Banvas, and Yudhishthir had sent first Arjun and then other brothers to go and fetch water from a nearby pond. And there was a yaksh there who had been cursed to live in that pond. And he had some spiritual questions, so he demanded the answers to his questions before he would allow anyone to take water. He had 60 questions. Since they had been sent by Yudhishthir, one after another, Arjun, Bhim, Nakul, Sahadev, they all refused to answer his questions because their loyalty was to their brother who was waiting for water. So the Yaksh took them all in the water. Eventually, Yudhishthir went himself and met that Yaksh and told him, yes, go ahead, ask your questions. I'll answer all of your questions. So the most important question that he asked was this Kimascharyam. What is the most surprising thing? What is the most astonishing thing in this world? Yudhishthira answered, Ahanyahani bhutani gacchanti hayamalayam sheshah sthiratvam kimascharya matah param. Yudhishthira answered, there is no more surprising thing for me in this world than seeing that the people of the world observe that people die every day at any age from any cause, and yet they don't feel any urgency in their own life that I may go at any time. He said, this is the most surprising thing. When you look at the world, everything runs on a regulated schedule. Winter is followed by spring, spring is followed by summer, summer is followed by autumn, autumn is followed by winter, and we know pretty close what dates certain weather changes will happen. Even here in Texas, where the weather is so unpredictable, we know that May and June are likely to be wet, and then July and August we're not going to see a drop of water, even if the clouds come over and threaten. So everything is regulated. We know this flower is going to bloom in this month, and this fruit will ripen in this month, and the birds fly from the north to the south in this month, and these birds migrate on this schedule, in this pattern, following this route. Everything in the world is regulated, from the angle of the Earth's axis to its rate of spin to the speed at which it circles the sun, down to the functioning of the cells of our body. Everything is regulated, and yet this one thing is completely unpredictable: the time of death. Kohi janati kasyadya mrityu kalo bhavishyati. Mahabharata. Who knows when the time of death is coming? No one has a clue. We see every day all different species, including humans, dying from accidents and dying unexpectedly, dying old, dying young, dying a moment after being born. This one thing is completely unpredictable, and we observe it around us. We hear about it on the news. We hear about it from our relatives and acquaintances, and yet we refuse to accept that we are subject to the same, our life, our time in this body is subject to the same unpredictability. We refuse to accept this. We just go through life blindly thinking, oh yes, I'll live to be at least 100. This was the answer Yudhishthira gave to that yaksh, that this is the most surprising thing in this world, that people observe the unpredictability, the charnabhangurata of life, and yet they think they have some guarantee that today's not going to be my last day. But Shri Kripalu Ji Maharaj says there's something even more surprising than this to him. And that is that the people of this world live in this world and receive the disappointments of this world day after day, and yet continue to think that they will get perfect happiness from this world. He says this is even more surprising than what Yudhishthira told that yaksh. If you ask someone, especially in India, Shri Maharaj says here, Jason suniya soi imi bhakhat yah sansar asar. Sab kahenge yah sansar asar hai. This world is just temporary. Nothing here is mine. You can't get perfect happiness anywhere in this world. God is the ultimate truth. Sab kahenge. Everybody is going to tell you that because they grew up steeped in this knowledge. But do they apply this knowledge? Maharaj says, Pe jako dekhiye soi khojat nij sukh vishaya majhar. So you can hear this great gyan from everybody telling you, oh yes, this world is temporary, there's no perfect happiness over here. But observe their behavior, and what do you see? They're seeking their perfect happiness from this world. through the objects of the senses, they aim to find perfect happiness. Shri Maharaj Ji says this is the most surprising thing in the world. We know the nature of this world. We know that as compared to the divine world, which is permanent and perfect, this world is temporary, and as stated by Valmiki Ji, Sarve kshayanta nichaya patananta samuchraya sanyoga viprayoganta maranantancha jivanam. Everything in this world that you can enjoy or own, it has a lifespan. It's going to end one day. And as long as you have it also, it's going to keep deteriorating before your eyes. Whether it's your car that comes off the lot nice and new, and within a couple of days has some crumbs on the floor and a new scratch on the side and dust on it, and maybe there's a hailstorm. So your car keeps deteriorating every moment. You buy a new house, new construction, and from the moment you move in, the problems begin. The maintenance problems and repair problems begin. It's the same with our body. It's deteriorating every moment. No matter how much upkeep we do on it, it's getting worse and worse. Those of you who are over 30, you know what I'm talking about. And if you're over 40, it's a whole other story. And if you're over 50, we just know this is the way everything in this world works. Nothing stays. It's all temporary, ephemeral. You can't hold on to it. It just slips through your fingers. Sanyoga viprayoganta. Every sweet meeting ends in separation. There's nobody that can be yours forever. Maranantancha jivanam. Everything alive must die one day. When this is the basic fact of this world, then what can remain yours forever? And what can make you happy forever? Matra sparshastu kaunteya shitoshna sukha-dukkhada. Gita. The world gives you different experiences through your senses. And since the whole world is made up of pairs of opposites, you have beauty, you have ugliness. You have hot, you have cold. You have wet, you have dry. You have good, you have bad. You have life, you have death, day, night. Everything in this world is made up of opposites, and these opposites keep fluctuating. It's also the nature of the world that nothing remains the same. Every moment it's changing. It's going up or it's going down. Like your stocks, like your feelings towards your spouse and your kids. Everything's going up, down, all the time. Everything's fluctuating. This is also one of the main laws of this world. There's no perfection because everything is a combination of good and bad. Everything is always changing and deteriorating, and everything is always fluctuating cyclically, day to night, life and death, good and bad, good and bad. Satyug, Treta, Dwapar, Kali, Satyug, Treta, Dwapar, Kali. Even in the macro scheme of things, the cycles of the yugs also go around like this. So this is the nature of this world. We live in it and we know it, and yet we still seek perfect happiness here. What could be more surprising than that? Every day we have this knowledge, and yet every day we say, today I'm going to get perfect happiness by watching this TV show. Today I'm going to get perfect happiness by eating this ice cream. Today I will get perfect happiness in this person's embrace. And every day we say, no, I didn't get it. And yet we try again the next day. Or even worse, not just not getting it, we get a japar. That person insulted me. I wanted perfect happiness from them and they made me feel so unhappy. These things also keep happening in our life, and yet we never give up hope. This is what Shri Maharaj Ji is saying, that you look around, you see everybody has the knowledge that there's no perfect happiness in the world. The ultimate aim of life is God. This world is to support our body, not to give us perfect happiness. This world is not useless, but in terms of the happiness of the soul, it's useless. It's useful for our body. Our body is Mayic and the world is Mayic. So the body needs the world, and we make use of the world intelligently so that our body can be functioning in a healthy way, as healthy as possible, and we can use it to find God. We know this knowledge, we have this knowledge, and yet we allow our mind to keep going back into the world with this belief that I'm going to find perfect happiness. According to Jagadguru Shri Kripalu Ji Maharaj, this is the most surprising fact in this world. इतने चप्पल जूते खाने के बाद भी मन में वैराग्य उत्पन्न नहीं होता. We don't get detached from this world even though we suffer the disappointments and unhappiness of this world day after day. We're still stubbornly attached in the world. We don't develop a sense of detachment from it. This is the most surprising thing in this world. There's something additionally which is also surprising that Shri Maharaj Ji tells us further ahead. Acharaj Sansar Lakhyon जासो सुनिय सोई इमी भाखत जासो सुनिय सोई इमी भाखत यह संसार असार लख्यों संसार असार लख्यों जाको stage of trying to enjoy something, there is difficulty and suffering. The moment a desire arises in our mind, we are troubled by that desire. Being under the effect of a desire that has awakened in our mind is not a relaxing or peaceful experience. It's a stressful experience. Oh, I need that thing. Okay, now try. Strive to achieve it. In the striving, there is more stress. Now you got the thing you want. Now that you have it, you're afraid to lose it. So even in having it, there's stress. And ultimately you will lose it because that's the nature of the world. So of course it ends in dukh. It ends in sadness. This is the nature of the world and we know it. We experience it every day. Yet we never give up the hope of finding perfect happiness in this world. It's amazing. But there's something else surprising that Shri Maharaj Ji states in the next two lines. He says, Kahat sabay hari ki leela ati alakh agamya apar. Devotees especially know this. They've been steeped in this knowledge that no one can understand the leelas of Shri Krishna. Bhagwan's actions are beyond understanding of the material mind. No one can know the reasons why God does what he does. God's mind is divine. His reasons for every action are divine. When we can't understand God, how could we understand the things he does? Yato vacho nivartante aprapya manasa sah. Taittiriya Upanishad. God is beyond the reach of our mind. Our mind tries to reach God and it reaches its limit and comes back empty-handed. Ram Swarupa, the form of Shri Ram, is beyond, completely beyond the reach of our senses, man, buddhi, everything. We cannot know him, we cannot experience him, we cannot analyze him or understand him. We cannot describe him. We cannot understand him through someone else's description. And yet, Panit sanshaya karat charita maha nij buddhi balahi bisar. Forgetting the limitations of our own mayic intellect, we endeavor to question in God's actions. Why did Ram kill Bali from behind the tree? Why did Ram send Sita to the forest? Why did Krishna do ras with the gopis? Why did Krishna marry 16,108 wives? We're always ready with a question. So this is what Shri Maharaj Ji is stating is so surprising. We know that no one with the material mind can understand God. Tribhir gunamayair bhavairebhi sarvamidan jagat mohitam nabhijanati mamebhyah paramavyayam. Gita. Shri Krishna says everyone under Maya is under the effect of sattvarajtam. Their mind and senses are made of sattvarajtam. So everything they see appears as sattvarajtam to them. The three qualities of Maya: pure, normal, and impure, good, selfish, and bad. Therefore, even if Supreme God himself were to come before us, we would see him as a material being. We know this, we've been taught this, and yet we're ready with our questions. Why did God do this? Shri Maharaj Ji says, this is very surprising. Even Brahma says, Karmanyani hasya bhavo bhavasya te Durga Shrayo Thari Bhayat Palayanam Swatman Rate Khidyati Dhir Vida Kalatmano Yat Pramadayutashraya Swatman Rate Khidyati Dhir Vidamiha. Bhagavatam. Oh Krishna, who can understand your actions? Brahma is saying. Brahma has a divine intellect. And he's admitting, I can't understand your leelas, Krishna. You are Aj, and yet here on earth you're known as the son of Nanda Baba and Yashoda. You're unborn, and yet you're somebody's son. How is it possible? You have no desires, and yet you are seen doing many types of karma. Normally somebody has to have a personal desire, and that motivates them to perform some action. But you are desireless, you are Atmaram Purnakam, you're perfectly self-contented, and yet you're doing such big karma. You're doing srishti. What could be a bigger karma than that? And then keeping track of all the actions of the souls and giving them the consequences. Unbelievably complex, amazingly immense karma you're doing. And yet you have no desires of your own. Who can understand? Brahma goes further ahead, saying, you have no fear because you are the god of death. You're the master of Yamraj. He trembles in front of you. So, for what reason would you fear anyone? Everyone fears Yamraj. When Yamraj comes in front of you, there's no more jawab. You have no more answer for anything. You know your time's up. Everyone fears Yamraj. And yet Yamraj trembles in front of Shri Krishna. And that same Shri Krishna, having fought Jarasandh with Balaram many times, on the 18th time he was attacked by Jarasandh, fled from Mathura. He and Balaram were so cowardly, they turned tail and ran all the way from Mathura and didn't stop until they reached the coast of Gujarat. They never even looked behind once to see if he was chasing them or not. And they didn't even stop there. They kept going until they went on the island of Dwarika and built a whole new city over there. Brahma says, who can understand your actions? You're behaving so cowardly, and yet even the god of death trembles in front of you. Swatman ratehe. You revel in your own self. You don't need any kind of sensual input from anyone to give you bliss. And yet you are seen doing ras with gopis. Who can understand the reasons behind your actions? You have no desires and you're marrying 16,108 queens. Who could compete with you? He says, Khidyati dhir vidamiha. Those who try to understand you, even if their intellect is of a great power, they fail. Their intellect gives up. Thus, he tells his own mind-born son, Narad, Naham nayuyam yadritang gatim vidur navamadeva kimuta pare sura tanmayaya mohita buddhayastvudam vinirmitam chatma samam prachakshmahe. Oh Narad, I can't understand Shri Krishna. You can't understand Shri Krishna. Shankarji can't understand Shri Krishna. What to say of the Devtas in Swarg? When we try, our buddhi fails. We can in our effort to describe Shri Krishna, we're only revealing the extent of our intellect. We're not actually revealing the truth of Shri Krishna. Saveda dhatu padavim parasya durantya viryasya rathanga parne yo maya santataya. You have to do one thing. Yaha amayaya. Without attachment in the world, without kapat, without chal. Santataya. Continuously bhajet tatpada sarojagandham. Worship the lotus feet of Shri Krishna with full humbleness, having surrendered your intellect at his lotus feet. Then with his grace, Saveda, that person can know him. Otherwise, no one can know him, Bhagavatam says. We have had it explained to us when we doubt in God's actions that Mayyaveshi tadhiyang kama kamaya kalpate bharjita kvathita dhana prayo bijaya neshyate. When someone loves Shri Krishna, when they attach their mind to Shri Krishna, no matter how they do it, with what feelings, kamam krodham bhayam sneha maikyam sauhridamevacha nityam harau vidadhato yanti tanmayatam hite. Bhagavatam. No matter how you attach your mind to Shri Krishna, with desires, without desires, with love, with fear, with hate, no matter how you attach your mind to him, whatever your mind enters into a state of union with, you attain that thing. We've had this principle, this axiom explained to us many, many times, and yet we say, oh, Kubja just wanted to have Krishna's physical association, and she didn't even think of Krishna's happiness. Such a selfish love. How did she attain Krishna? We're ready with our question. But Guruji has already told us that this is how it works. No matter how you attach your mind to Krishna, because he is divine. So if you attach your mind to him, the seed of your mayic desires is burnt forever. Just like you put chana in the oven. After that, go and put it in the field with nice water, warmth, sunlight, fertilizer. It's not going to sprout because you already roasted it. The germinating power of that seed is finished. Similarly, when you attach your mind to Shri Krishna, the germinating power of your mayic desires is burnt forever. We know this philosophy, and yet we question, oh, doing ras with Krishna? Gopis left their husbands in the middle of the night and went and met Krishna? We're ready with our question. We forget the philosophy, and we start questioning in God's actions. This is called namaparad. So the reason I'm explaining this to you tonight, even though you've heard it many, many times from Shri Maharaj Ji, aside from the Siddhant Vyakhyas you'll be hearing from Prem Ras Madira, you'll also be hearing some explanations of Leela Pads. So in those Leelas, when we're listening to them, we always have to remember this foundational philosophy that God's actions are always divine. And by attaching our mind to him, by even hearing those Leelas, if we listen faithfully, our mind is purified. But if we doubt, if we question, if we try to analyze, then instead of purifying our mind, we incur spiritual transgressions that block our spiritual progress and waste what progress we've already made. So Shri Maharaj Ji is reminding us here that even devotees who have been educated in these principles still forget and start questioning in the actions of Shri Krishna, Shri Ram, and they spoil their devotion and they lose the opportunity of purifying their mind through hearing these beautiful leelas. राम देखी सुनी चरित तुम्हारे, जड़ मोहि बुध होहि सुखारे. A fool listens to the leelas of Ram or Krishna and becomes confused because they try to analyze and understand the reasons behind them. But the intelligent devotee, buddha hohi sukhare, the intelligent devotee is elated hearing these leelas. This devotee doesn't analyze but enjoys, immerses their mind in the bliss of those leelas. Whether they understand the reasons for each and every action or not, they simply immerse their mind in the ras of that leela. So let us follow this example and not be jada. You know what Maharaj Ji says? And he's put both these points in this pad. When he talks about people who question in Krishna's or Ram's actions, he says, why do you question in those actions? Instead of questioning that, you should ask yourself this question, that after having suffered so many disappointments in this world, why have I not developed a sense of vairagya? Ask yourself that question before you start questioning in Ram and Krishna's leelas. So here Maharaj Ji has laid the whole thing out for us, and he's also told us what we really need to put all the pieces together, which we'll see in the last two lines of this pad. Acharaj Sansar Lakhyon mein, karat anit sanshaya karat charit maha निज बुद्धि बलहि विसार लख्यों अचरज संसार We have these two surprising things, that even though we suffer so many disappointments in the world, we haven't given up the hope of finding perfect happiness in the world. And even though we know that God's form and leelas are beyond our material comprehension, we still insist upon questioning in God's actions. The solution to this is the Guru. Binu satsang kachhuk nahi pai, pachi pachi mariya hajar. So satsang Kripalu janiye, Shraddha binu khilwar. Take detachment from the world. Without the grace of the Guru, without the gracious hand of the Guru guiding us towards Krishna, how could we ever give up the hope of this world? We're driven from within to find happiness. Maharaj has told us so many times it's impossible to give up the search for happiness because that is the nature of our soul. And even though we know I am Ansh of Shri Krishna and he is perfect happiness, that is why I desire happiness, yet our mind is so habituated to seeking happiness in this world that it never gives up this hope. And we're so deeply attached to the world that the mind keeps returning, blindly returning to the world, hoping to find what it has failed to find thus far. There's no way out of this because the whole world is doing this. The whole world is running after the worldly happiness, blindly chasing the hope of, I didn't get it today, I'll get it tomorrow. Happiness is just around the corner. It's just over the next hill. I'm just about to be perfectly happy. Everybody's doing the same thing. All the billboards are telling us to keep doing that. All the TV shows are telling us to keep doing that. All our friends and family are telling us to keep doing that. Then how would we escape this situation? Only the strong hand of the Guru can guide us. No, go this side. It's like a fly that got into your car and keeps trying to go out through the windshield, banging its head. No, I can see there's daylight out there. Yeah, but the window's open over there. But why would I go that way? I can see right here. The blue sky is right this way. So what do you have to do? You take that fly and put it out through the open window. That's what Guru does to us. A little bit of force to graciously guide us over to the divine side. But we have to allow him. We have to trust him. That's why Shri Maharaj Ji says we have to do real satsang. Binu satsang vivek na hoi. Without the association of a true guru, nobody can develop this real discrimination. That happiness is not here, it's here. Guru binu hoi ki gyan. How could someone develop true spiritual knowledge without a true guru? But we have to associate faithfully with the guru. Otherwise it's a khilwar. It's just a joke. It's we're toying around. We have to really believe what Guru is saying. You see, if you haven't eaten in 10 days and your spouse puts a nice dinner in front of you, you're hungry for 10 days, you're about to dig in. There's paratha and rasmalai and paneer. You're about to start eating. After you haven't had a morsel in 10 days and your wife whispers or your husband whispers in your ear, all of these things have had poison injected into them. You'll take them and throw them, even though you haven't eaten in 10 days. You have that much faith in the words of someone who tells lies all day long, every day. All of us lie every day, and yet we have that much faith in another material person. Just on their say-so, we're ready to throw our meal away even though we haven't eaten in 10 days. Sadguru Vaidya Vachan Vishvasa Sanjamaya Navishaya Ki Asha. Just like you go to the doctor and the doctor tells you, you have diabetes. No more chini for you. No more refined sugar. Period. Yes, doctor. You're afraid to die. And you believe in what the doctor's telling you. You trust in the doctor's advice. In the same way, we have to have faith in what the Guru tells us. All these worldly pleasures have vish mixed in with them. They taste very sweet in the beginning, but in the end, there's poison. Why? Because it just leads to more desire and ends in disappointment anyway, and keeps you cycling in that like a dog chasing his tail. He never catches his tail, but he keeps... Have you ever seen a dog do that? He looks around behind him and he sees his tail, and he thinks if he turns, he can get it. Never got it, but he keeps trying, going around and around. That's what we keep doing. But if we have faith in the Guru tells us, no, your happiness is not here, your happiness is over there. Then just like the doctor telling us to stop eating sugar, just like your spouse telling you there's poison in this food, throw it away. To the whatever extent we have shraddha, to whatever extent we believe in the Guru's words, we will abandon the belief that there is perfect happiness in this world, and we will seek that perfect happiness from Radha Krishna. The Guru also reminds us again and again, do not question in the actions of a divine personality, whether it be Radha Krishna, Sitaram, or your divine Guru. Do not question in their actions. Don't go down that road. Receive what they're giving and experience the ras of doing devotion with the grace of a true Guru. Experience that and you will know everything. But use your material intellect to analyze and question and doubt, and you'll spoil everything. So it is up to us, now that we've been exposed to the true teachings and we've received the association of the true Guru, now it is up to us to truly associate with the Guru, not just in name, not just saying I'm a satsangi, not just saying I'm a follower of Kripalu Ji Maharaj, but how are we doing it just as a khilwar? Are we just playing around here? Or are we really taking to heart what Shri Maharaj Ji teaches us? I'm saying all of us, myself as well, to how seriously do we accept his teachings deep in our heart and really analyze, am I really still seeking happiness in this world? Am I still questioning in God's actions? Am I still doubting in Guru's personality? So we should analyze ourselves, not God and Guru. Analyze our behavior, our faults. Analyze our stubborn refusal to give up the hope of finding happiness in this world. And with the Guru's grace, we will make amazing progress. We will experience the ras of Radha Krishna's Leelas, and will leave these doubts far behind, and our mind will gradually get more and more attached to Radha Krishna and the divine Guru, and gradually release more and more. It will just release its grip on its determined grip on this world. It will relax that and become more and more attached on the divine side. So Shri Kripalu Ji Maharaj has explained in this Pad Kirtan that this most amazing thing is that people, even knowing through their own experience and through the teachings of the scriptures and saints that there is no perfect happiness in the world, yet they don't give up the hope of finding that. And even though they know that God and Guru's actions are beyond the reach of our material intellect, yet we stubbornly keep questioning and doubting in their actions. But if we become serious about our surrender and we truly associate faithfully with the divine Guru, then these situations can be corrected and we can progress truly and swiftly in our devotion. Bolo Vrindavan Bihari Lal ki, Shrimat Sadguru Sarkar ki, Jai Jai Shri Radhe, Jai Jai Shri Radhe, Jai Jai Shri Radhe. Now we'll be having a special video, as we do nightly, of Shri Maharaj Ji, and after that we'll have Atma Nirikshan and the Kirtan.